So hello everyone. So I have a problem here that we can work out based on what we discussed before. So it's a let's jump right into the problem. So it's a 110 volt 50 hertz delta connected induction motor has a star connected slip ring rotor. So you see delta connection and star connection. So a little bit let's helps to draw a diagram. So this is stator and then this is the rotor. So I am not drawing the diagram in the form of a machine but more in the form of a circuit schematic. So the stator is delta connected. So I'll just use the delta connection like this. The three phases are there. So let's say this is A, B and C. So I am getting the three phases. Now what is the voltage? So it is 1100 volt. That means this voltage is actually line to line voltage. So 1100 volts. So voltage between line A and C, the same voltage between line A, B or line, all these voltages are 1100 volts. As you know, that is the case with the three phase supply. Now since the stator is a delta connected, whatever is the line to line voltage, the same voltage will appear across the phase also. So each phase will have 110 volts, sorry, 1100 volts. Alright, so let's continue. Induction motor as a star connected slip ring rotor. So whereas the rotor is star connected. So this is the three windings in the rotor and the three windings are star connected. Okay. So now there will be a slip rings here and then the slip rings I can connect to the external resistance and all, which I am not showing it here because this is a circuit schematic. The rotor resistance and standstill leakage reactance are this one. So here I will write it 0.012 ohms plus J 0.25 ohms. So this is my R2 and X2. Okay, so R2 is 0.012, X2 is J 0.25. So this is in ohms. This is all at standstill. Let's continue the question. Neglecting stator impedance and magnetizing current determine. So in the stator, it is assumed that the resistance is 0 and leakage reactance is 0. So there is no losses in the stator. Purely now the problem is at the rotor itself. The rotor current at start with slip rings short circuited. So the slip rings are short circuited. Under this condition, what is the rotor current is the question. Okay. So first thing is I want to find out the EMF induced E2. Okay. So how do I find the EMF induced? So the ratio is given. Okay. Phase transformation ratio is 3.8. That means the turns of the one phase of the stator and the corresponding phase of the rotor, the turns ratio is 3.8. Now it is not difficult to imagine that stator will obviously have more turns compared to the rotor because rotor is dimensionality smaller. Of course, you can develop a machine with more number of turns in the rotor, but then it is not practically done. So when they say the ratio is 3.8, you should always consider that stator is the high voltage and rotor is the low voltage. Okay, so what is the E1? E1 is the stator voltage per phase. Okay, so that is nothing but voltage that is 1100 volt. This is the reason I'm taking this because it is a delta connection. Otherwise, you have to divide by root 3 to get the phase voltage. Okay, that is what is the trick in this question. Now, what is E2? So, E2 will be 1100 divided by 3.8. Okay, or you can consider it as E2 is K into E1. So, where K is nothing but 1 by 3.8. Okay, so let's calculate it. So let me bring my calculator. Right. So 1100 divided by 3.8. So I am getting 289.5. I have just rounded off volts. Okay, so now this is the rotor EMF at standstill. So rotor current at standstill I want to know. So this is again per phase. So what is Z2? Okay, so that is nothing but E2 square plus X2 square under root. Sorry, R2 square plus X2 square under root. So 0.012 square plus 0.25 square under root. Basically I am calculating the impedance. Okay. So let's do that. 0.012 square plus 0.25 square is equal to, and then square root of it. So I am getting 0.25 ohms. Okay. So basically these two are coming equal because relatively this value is very less. Okay. So now what is I2? This is rotor per phase current at the standstill. That is nothing but E2 by Z2. That is nothing but 289.5 divided by 0.25. So let's do that. 289.5 divided by 0.25. So 1158 amperes. So this is quite a large current actually. So this current is flowing in the rotor. So starting current is very high. Okay. So what about the next part? Again, this part we have completed. So the answer here is 1158 amperes. The rotor power factor at the start with slip ring short circuited. So what is the rotor power factor? So cos phi 2 is what you want. So R2 by Z2. So that is 0.012 divided by 0.25. So let's do that now. So 0.048 is the power factor. This is lagging power factor. So this is again the power factor is quite low. Okay. Even though there is a high current, because the power factor is low, resultant torque at the starting will be not high as high as it can. Okay. So the maximum torque will be somewhat at a different value. Okay. The rotor current when 4% slip. Okay. So now I am solving so this was part 1, this is part 2, and then part 3 of the question. The rotor current with 4% slip. Okay. So when slip is 4%, or I will say 0.04, what is my ER? Is nothing but S into E2, that's what 0.04 into 289.5. And what is my XR? Is nothing but S into X2, 0.04 into 0.25. Okay. So let me calculate these two values. 0.04 into 289.5. So I get only 11.58 volts induced in the EMF because it's only 4% slip, corresponding that 4% slip, only this much voltage is induced in the phase of the rotor. Now what is XR? So 0.04 into 0.25. So I am getting 0.01 ohms. Okay. Now what is ZR? ZR is nothing but RR plus JXR. So I just want to calculate the magnitude of it. So 0.012 square plus 0.01 square under root. Okay. So let's do that. So 0.01 square plus 0.012 square is equal to, and then square root of it. So I am getting 0.0156 ohms. Okay. So this is ZR. Now what is the IR, rotor current? So it's nothing but ER by ZR. Simple Ohm's law, just like solving a circuit. 11.58 divided by 0.0156. Okay. So I apply 1 by X and then multiply it with 11.58. So I am getting 741 amperes. Okay, 0.33 I will neglect. So this is the answer to the third part of the question. Okay. So let's go to the next part of the question. The rotor power factor at 4% slip. Okay. So the rotor power factor is also quite straightforward. So rotor power factor is cos phi r at 4% slip is nothing but RR by ZR. So 0.012 divided by 0.0156. Okay. So 0.012 divided by 0.0156. So I'm getting 0.77. Okay? Again, I'm approximating lag. Okay? So compared to the previous very low power factor, now the power factor is considerably high. So this is like the normal range. Okay? Now, one more question. The external rotor resistance per phase to obtain a starting current of 100 amperes in the stator supply lines. Okay. So now what we are doing is, this is the motor. Now I want to connect some external resistance. Okay. So what is the external resistance? So there will be some resistance like this, another resistance like this, another resistance like this. Instead of the short circuiting of the rotor, I'll connect the rotor with these external resistances. Okay. So let's say Rx. Rx is the external resistance added in the each phase of the rotor. As a resultant of adding this external resistance, the starting current of the stator will be lesser. Okay. So that starting current, what is it saying? The external rotor resistance per phase to obtain a starting current of 100 amp. First of all, what is the starting current without this? Let's do that. So if you look at the I2, that is 1158 amperes was the current. Okay. This much current is flowing in this winding when this is short circuited at the starting, 1158, quite high. What is the current in this winding? So again we use the same turns ratio, because the voltage is stepped down, the current will be stepping up. So now while going from rotor to stator side, the current will be stepping down. So I'll estimate that. So 1158 divided by 3.8. Okay. So that is 304 amperes that is flowing in the A to B phase. Okay. So what is the current flowing in the line? So remember, this is delta connection. So in a delta connection, the line current will be root 3 times that of the phase current. Okay. So now if I multiply it with square root of 3, so I am getting 527 amperes. Okay. So the current here normally would be 527 amperes at the starting when I short circuit the rotor. Now the question is asking external resistance per phase to obtain a starting current of 100 amperes in the stator supply lines. Okay. So I don't want such high 527 amperes of current. I want to limit it to only 100 amperes by adding a external resistance. Okay. So we calculate the problem in the reverse now. So let's say now this is 100 amperes. Okay. So when this current is 100 amperes, what is the current in the each phase? Okay. So that will be 100 by root 3. So let's do that, 100 divided by 1.732. So the current here will be 57.73 amperes. Now what is the current in the rotor side? Okay. So again, as I said, since the voltage is stepping down, the current will step up. So into 3.8 I'll do it. Okay. So I am getting 219. Okay. So let me use another page. So I2 at the starting should be less than or equal to 219.4 amperes. Okay. So this is the, if I limit the I2 current within this, then I can limit the stator current within the 100 ampere range. Okay. Now how to limit the I2 current within that? So what is I2 first of all? So E2 by Z2 should be equal to 219.4. But I know already what is E2 at the beginning. Okay. So what is E2 at the beginning? That is the standstill rotor EMF 289.5. Okay. So 289.5 divided by Z2. Okay. So now I can calculate what is the impedance of the rotor. Okay. So that is 289.5 divided by 219.4. Okay. So let's do that. 289.5 divided by 219.4. So I am getting 1.314 ohms. Okay. So I have to limit this. So therefore, I want to find out the effective, that is R2 plus Rx. Okay. So it's nothing but Z2 minus X2. So Z2 square minus X2 square under root. Okay. So again from the power triangle I can calculate the resistance. Okay. So 1.314 square minus X2. Okay. So what was X2? Again X2 is given in the question, that is nothing but 0.25. So 0.25 square, and then I apply a square root for that. Okay. So let's do this calculation now. So 1.314 square minus 0.25 square is equal to, and then square root of that. So I'm getting 1.29 ohms. Okay. So if my resistance is 1.29 ohms, then I'm able to limit the current to 219 in the rotor, and similarly in the 100 amperes in the stator. So but then R2 I already know, so I can find out the Rx. Nothing but 1.29 minus R2, that is 0.012. So 1.29 minus 0.012. So I'm getting 1.278 ohms. Okay. So this much resistance has to be added externally in each phase, okay, during the starting, so as to limit the starting current to 100 amperes. Okay. So that is about the, so this is one of the applications of having a wound rotor induction motor. There is a facility of adding the additional resistances in this one. Now since we have come this far, let's just quickly do one more calculation of finding out what is the, so I just extend the question. So this is Roman numeral 5 or 5, I'll write it here. So let's extend the question, Roman numeral 6. Okay. So this is starting torque of the motor with rotor short circuited. So this is one I want to find out. Another thing I want to find out is torque of motor at 4% slip. So another thing I want to find out is torque, that is again starting torque of motor under conditions described in part 5. Okay. So let's take it one by one each. So let's come here, starting torque of the motor with the rotor short circuit. So what is the expression for starting torque? This is nothing but 3 by 2 pi ns. Okay, so let me just refer to it. So E2 S will S equal to 1. So E2 square R2 by R2 square plus SX2 square. Okay, so this is the expression for starting torque of the motor. Okay, so let's substitute it. So what is NS? So NS is 120 F by P. Okay. So, but then if I look at the question, the number of poles are not given, frequency is given. So let's modify it. A 4 pole. Okay. So a 4 pole 110 volt 50 hertz, this one. So you can always modify the question if you find that the information is not available. So what is the synchronous speed? Okay. So first let me calculate that. Okay. So NS is 120 into 50 divided by 4. So this is 1500 revolutions per minute. So what is small ns? Is nothing but 1500 divided by 60. So what do I get? So 1500 divided by 60. So I am getting 25 revolutions per second. So this is one part. Now I calculate the starting torque. Nothing but 3 divided by 2 into pi into 25 multiplied by E2 square. Okay. So how much was E2? This 289.5 square into R2. R2 was 0.012, that is given in the question, divided by 0.012 square plus X2 is 0.25 square. Okay. So this is the starting torque of the motor. Okay. So let me calculate that. So what do we have? So I'll go numerators. First is 3 multiplied by 289.5 square multiplied by 0.012. Okay. So this is the entire numerator divided by, I open brackets, then I'll say 2 into pi into 25 into, so this is the entire product. So I open one more bracket. So 0.012 square plus 0.25 square. So I close the bracket, then again I close the bracket. This is the entire denominator. So this is my answer, 306.6 Newton meters. Okay, so let's write it here as 307 Newton meters. Okay, so this is the starting torque of the motor. Okay. Now the question is torque of the motor at 4% slip. Okay. So now the question is, will the torque of the motor at 4% slip be more than 307 or less than 307? I just give you a moment for you to think about it. So will this be more than 307 Newton? Will the starting torque is more or the running torque is more at 4% slip? Okay. So just think about it. So the answer could be A, it is more, and B, it is less. Okay. You can again think of C as equal. Let's do that now. So what is the torque at slip equal to 4%? Okay. So again I use the same expression that we just derived, that is this one. Here slip is in the numerator and slip in the denominator. So just almost the same thing, 3 by 2 pi into 25 into S, that is 0.04 into 289.5 square into 0.012 divided by 0.012 square into plus 0.04 into 0.25 square. Oh, actually this square will be applying for the entire thing. Okay. So this is my new torque. Okay. So let's calculate it now. So what do I get it? So let's simplify the denominator first. 0.04 multiplied by 0.25 and then square of it. So I'm getting this part is, okay, I'll just add this also, plus 0.012 square equal to. So this entire thing is only this part, denominator is 0.000244. Okay. So now I think I can worry about the total thing now. So 3 into 0.04 into 289.5 square into 0.012. Okay, so this is the entire numerator divided by 2 into pi into 25 into 0.000244. Okay. So I am getting 3149 Newton meters. Okay. Now you compare these two. At 4% slip, my torque is much higher compared to the starting torque of the motor. So why is the starting torque of the motor very less? That is because the starting torque is proportional to, as I said, the torque itself is proportional to the power factor. Okay, so EMF into current into power factor, because the power factor is very low. So that's why the starting torque is low. Okay. Now, what are the measures to improve the starting torque? So just by adding some kind of external resistance. So what was the effect of adding this Rx? One effect is the input current is limited. Earlier it was 527. That current is now coming to only 100 amperes. So I am limiting the stator current. In the process, is the starting torque still worse or is it better? That is the question that we need to worry now. Okay. So let's do the calculation. So I am again asking you the question, if I calculate the starting torque here, will that starting torque be more than 307? That is option A. Will that be less than 307? That is option B. And will that be equal? Which will not be the case, because there are major, I am introducing a resistance in the rotor, so it should bring about some changes. While you think about it, you can pause and think about it. Let's continue and then let's calculate it once again. So again the starting torque with Rx equal to, what was the value? 1.278 ohms. So some external resistance I have added. So what is the starting torque now? Will the starting torque improve as a result of adding external resistance? So let's do that now. So this is again 3 by 2 pi ns. Okay, so multiplied by E2 square. So what will be the E2? So there is no change in the E2, that is 289.5 because the slip is 0 at the starting. And then what will be the resistance? R2. Now the effective resistance here is R2 plus Rx, that is 1.29 as we calculated. So the effective resistance has increased, and in the denominator 1.29 square plus 0.25 square. So we had some changes in the numbers here. So this is 25. So all the numbers are there. So let's calculate it and see what will be the answer. So again I am asking the question, is this quantity more than 307 or is this less than 307? Think about it, you frame an answer in your mind and then we'll verify what the numbers say. Okay, let me again calculate this. 1.29 square plus 0.25 square is equal to this one. So 1.7266. So this is this number. So multiplied by 25 multiplied by pi multiplied by 2. So this is the entire product of the denominator. So I'll just invert it 1 by x and then multiply it with 3 multiplied with 289.5 square and multiply it with 1.29. Okay. So I am getting a value which is 11996 Newton meters. Okay. So this is the starting torque with the external resistance added. So clearly this one is more than the original torque, that is 307 Newton meters, that is torque without any additional external resistance. Okay. So you clearly see the benefit. Benefit number one is rotor and stator current at the start is limited. So this is a very good advantage, because if I introduce some resistance here, the current from the supply side is limited. So instead of huge 527 amperes of current, only 100 amperes I am able to limit it. That is one benefit. And the another benefit is improvement of starting torque. So now you might ask a question, what happens if I continue this Rx in the circuit itself? Even at 4% slip I will leave this Rx here. So again, that I leave it for you to think. The good thing to do is when the motor is picking up speed and then it is running at a higher speed and slip of 4% or so, something like that, at that time you have to remove the external resistance that is added. That will be beneficial, but then I leave for you to think about it. So I hope you got some insight. The original question we started was only this much, but then suddenly I got an idea, why not extend this question and then calculate the torques to understand. And then I hope you learned something in this video. Okay. So if you have any doubts, feel free to ask them in the form of comments in this video, and please subscribe, please like my video if you like it. We'll see more problems like this.